Welcome to the very first episode of the Orlando Dads Group podcast. We are extremely excited to share our little slice of paradise with you, and hopefully, if you're in Central Florida or even hopefully in other parts of the country. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
It's another day in this
Living
parenting life.
living the dream, right?
That's all we can do.
So again, I'm
But
Nick. I'm one of the hosts and co-organizers, and Floor and Nate are obviously here as well. And I'm actually really excited about this episode because I'm the one that edits the clips together, and it was really nice because we had done this a couple months ago, and it was nice to go back and edit the episode and be able to relearn the information, if that makes any sense. So it's nice to just have that information fresh in my mind again.
yeah, I with this webinar, Jason, I've actually known him for quite a few years actually. It was just around COVID when I met him, and just learning about him and the things that he does, and his mission really is to bring leadership like into the house, like from a fatherhood perspective, and to help dads like lead their families. Like that's been his like focus from day one since I met him, and he's been pretty consistent with it and doing different things. He has his own group that he does, and kind of starting like his own like city dads, but within his realm of expertise, which is being a therapist. But he does something where he calls himself like a parenting coach. And he literally sometimes goes at in homes and to help families to effectively like parent and really help their families like lead their kids to success, whether it's behavioral issues or different routines and everything like that. So it was nice to kind of hear him talk about some of those things and us ask some of those questions where it was like an aha moment for us, like, oh wow, like I never really tried that, or
Yeah.
that's a good idea, or just to see how things work from his perspective and the things that he has seen before. So yeah, it was pretty impactful for me personally. It has been since I've known him. Um, so yeah, it's interesting to just to hear that, and also to hear dads who haven't heard him before listen to this and ask some of those questions. I mean, I don't know what kind of impact it was for you, Nate, like during that call, like with Jason. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought it was great. And one thing that sticks out to me was the him speaking on different parenting styles and how you are and how that
Mm,
relates to how you speak
yeah.
to your own children. That one part was really big for me. Realizing my parenting style obviously is different than my wife, which is going to be different than somebody else too. So, you don't really judge by how somebody else does it. You kind of form your own way of doing things that work effectively to reach your own kids. It's pretty cool. It's good.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was great. So again, this episode's gonna have some clips from the webinar that we recorded with him. This is Jason Johnson. He again is a parenting coach. You can actually find him on Instagram. His uh, screen name, I think, on Instagram is calm underscore and underscore confident underscore parent. I think if you also just search calm and confident underscore parent, calm and confident parent, you'll be able to find him as well. He's got lots of videos on there about uh, certain scenarios and certain things that he talked about in our webinar, but then other things that he goes into more depth. So it's a great resource to have. So here are some clips from the webinar that we did with Jason Johnson, the parenting coach.
All right. So with that, why did I come up with parent coaching? Um, the way that I came up with parent coaching is I learned in my field what is the definition of therapy. What is therapy? Everybody's looking for a therapist. The exact definition is the treatment, the diagnosis and treatment of a mental health disorder. Say it again for effect. A few words, but very, very meaty. The diagnosis and treatment of a mental health disorder. It's taken from the medical model. You break your leg, you go to a doctor or you go to the emergency room. They take an x-ray. They come up with a diagnosis. You broke X bone in this area, and they have a code for it. And then they submit it to the insurance, and insurance will pay for it because it's the medical field. And the treatment aspect with breaking bone is, we might put a cast, you might get some crutches. That is your treatment. So your diagnosis is you broke your femur on your leg, whatever, and this is our treatment. And the goal of that medical treatment is only to bring you back to the day before you broke your leg. That's what insurance pays for. That's all they pay for. They will bring you back. Let's say you're living your life at 0. You break your leg. Now you go down to -10, -50, whatever the fracture is. But then as you're working your way back up, getting the help that you need, insurance will pay for that help until you get back to 0. Once you're back at 0, they're like, okay, you're done. Like physical therapy, usually not covered under insurance. They don't want to see you stronger or thrive. It's the medical model. Now, our field, the helping profession, is an offshoot and in essence is the medical model. So when you go for therapy and they take your insurance, the first thing that person is doing is they're trying to say, what kind of mental health disorder do you have? Were you quote unquote broken? I don't like saying it that way because people are not broken. I'm just using this medical model, which has been around for 100+ years. Come up with a diagnostic code that might be depression, that might be anxiety, that might be bipolar, might be a lot of different things, ADHD. But that is your quote unquote diagnosis. And when you get that diagnosis, a practitioner will treat it in a certain manner. Depends on how they're trained. So I'm going to pause there for a second to see if there's any questions about that. Because if you were looking for help in that capacity, I want you to be able to answer by the end of this call. What is out there if I need help, and how do I find it? So 2 other terms here, psychologist versus psychiatrist. Psychiatrist, the only reason to see a psychiatrist for children is if you plan on giving them medication. That's what that is. They diagnose the same way I do, but the way that they treat is with meds. Now, psychiatrists claim to do therapy. My opinion, after many, many years, it's confusing and I would avoid it, because when they ask you how you're feeling and what are you doing and things like that, they're trying to see how the medication is interacting in you or your child's body. They're not asking because they really want to know your intimate thoughts and feelings. So it can get confusing. And a lot of psychiatrists, unfortunately, have an ego. So they say, I could do this. I could do talk therapy. But they're actually the least trained in talk therapy. You're better off going to what I'd call a regular therapist, which is either an LCSW in your state or an LPC in your state. It's the letters that you're going to see, like, because it's all like alphabet soup. Like, what all these letters mean? Why, what is this stuff? But LPCs and LCSWs actually do better talk therapy, behavioral therapy, cognitive. I don't want to name every nonsense that's out there, make it more confusing. But the only cautionary tale is a psychiatrist who gives medication and tells you don't need to see a therapist for yourself or your child or your family. That's somebody that's you got to be a little bit leery of, because they're not trained in counseling skills. So, parent coaching. I'm coming in as the parent coach. Being a therapist helped me better to define parent coaching. And as I go around, what I share is parent coaching is the maximizing of leadership skills, of getting your child everything from waking up in the morning to going to bed at night.
what are the most common like challenges parents are facing today? And based off your expertise, what is the most common challenges that parents are facing today, and how do you help them navigate through those challenges?
I'd say on a practical, so three things come to mind, short phrases. One, getting children to listen. The number one complaint, I can't get my child to listen. How do I get my child to listen? And for me, I always look for a context. They don't listen in what particular area. They don't listen going to bed. They don't listen brushing their teeth. They don't listen getting dressed. They don't listen. Everything that I'm going to present is from a practical, everything that parents actually face, versus reading a book somewhere or something like that. I stopped counting after 250 homes where I show parents step by step how to do this stuff. So one, getting my kid to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other two I kind of pair together is where I came up with the name Calm and Confident Parent. The two major things that most people want when they're, the end goal is always, I want to be calm. I want to be able, I don't want to yell. I don't want to scream. I don't want to get upset. I don't want to get frustrated. I know my child's going through something, but they have big feelings and I have big feelings. And how do I manage and cope and lead them through those daily routines? So Calm and Confident Parent was literally the two things that I plug in. How to be calm, huge part of the curriculum. One of the only people who teaches that. How do you actually get calm? You can't snap your fingers. You can't take 10 deep breaths. There's a lot of counseling tools that people try to use. They're just very ineffective when the living, breathing child is in front of you. You're frustrated. They're frustrated. They're having a meltdown, or they don't know how to express what they need to express, and you're having trouble helping them express that. So to be calm is core. One of the core principles, how to actually do that. And confident, funny part about confidence is it's kind of like, what's the other word I'm looking for? But to be confident, you have to have a track record of successful things where you accomplished what you were after. So people can walk around as if they're confident, but they don't have, if I put over 125 kids to bed, eight ranging from 5.5 months to 6, so I sound like an asshole sometimes when I'm like, this is not a problem for me. But I also want people to know that it's doable, because everything you hear, children don't come with a manual. This is, I didn't have any, guidance, growing up, or I don't know what it is to be a parent. And I think one of the saddest things for me is to live a life and not put out there that there are ways to do this thing. And it's more than just, we're all doing our best. Yes, everybody's doing their best. But one thing I bring to the table that's different is the therapy field, the helping profession. They care. Of course they care. If you don't care, your behind needs to be out of this business. You have to care. But unfortunately, you have to also be able to get results, which is something that is not as highlighted or important. Usually in sports, we value this more as men. We care to win a championship. Yeah, but did you win that championship? So I stand in front of you as I do this. It's a way of life. And so Calm and Confident, once you start getting some of these, you learn some of the skills, then you start applying some of the skills, you'll become confident because you'll start to create that track record. My in-home coaching program, which is not available anymore, 12 weeks, 3 steps. Step 1, I do it for you for the first month so that you know it's possible and what it looks like. Step 2, I do it with you. Stand here, say this, don't say that, move in this direction. I do it with you. Third, I'm out of the picture just watching. Say, yes, keep doing that. My goal is to get out as quickly as possible because it's not natural for me to come in and take over leadership role when they're not my children. So I found a sweet spot. It's about 12 weeks that you can get in there, teach the skills, do it with the parent, and then get out, because that's how it's supposed. I'm not supposed to be there, is what I've learned over the past 16 years. So calm, confident, and children don't listen. I hope I can be a little long-winded, but that's my answer to the first question. How do I help them? I teach them the skills to be calm. I teach them how to give verbal directions effectively. Once parents give effective directions, what happens is your child may or may not listen. Why? Because they're not robots. And the percentage of time that children should be listening and not listening is 80-20. 80% of the time when you give a direction, they should listen within the first 3 set of instruction. It could be a verbal instruction, it could be a nonverbal instruction, it could be helping them move, a physical redirection. But typically, if they're listening when the first 3 directions, 80% of the time, that's success. Most people don't know that. Just that right there, that's success. Usually when I have to go into a home, parents are reporting that their children are listening anywhere from 10% to 20% of the time. It's inverted. 80% of the time, they're not listening within that framework. These are the phrases that puts every parent in what I call an alarm state. There's nothing physical, like there's nothing wrong with you. You're not a bad human being. There are no judgments. You don't need better parenting skills. You just need to know how to lead an interaction outside of an alarm state. I can't go in over 250 homes and be talking about parents. Like, it's not the method. I can't be kicking in the door and be like, you guys don't know what the you're doing. This is what's going to happen by the in-home parent coach. You don't get this far. Give me 1 second. I'm being summoned. Hold on.
Ironically, me too.
Oh, don't.
I know, right?
I think for a lot of us, though, that's why, like, a lot of us that are at the why is because we want to figure out, like, what's going through your head. Like, why would you do that? Why would I just come off of here when I stepped out and there be 10 Baby Bell cheeses spread across the floor with those red waxes like, why? What was going through your head? Were you weren't hungry because you just ate? Why?
All right. So, and there's greater depth in the video is really breaking all this down, but I want you to hear it like from me because I made it. So yes, a wire needs to ask. What I probably like my first 5 years, I try to make people stop doing what they're doing, which only created more confusion. So I learned how to instead don't fight it, like roll with it, almost like a somersault. In the beginning, when you try this, you're going to look at a situation, you're going to see something with your eyes, and you're going to hear something your child says. It's always the formula. You're going to walk into a situation, you're going to see something, you're going to hear something. Immediately, you're going to have this internal reaction that nobody addresses. Nobody's talking about it but me. I'm like the only one talking about it. There is an actual reaction that you're having. So if you're like, why are you doing this? You need to ask yourself a different question. Not try to stop it. So you're going to say, oh man, Jason said don't say why. Oh crap, I said why. Don't beat yourself up. This is parent coaching. I'm just trying to get you to jump higher. That's all. I just noticed on that jump, you had a little slip. You might want to angle yourself this way. Nothing personal. You said why. Big deal. It doesn't matter.
Now, when you step away,
replace it. When you notice yourself say why, immediately ask yourself, what do I want to see right now from my child? What do I want to hear right now from my child? And answer those 2 questions first. I don't care if it takes you 5 minutes to get an answer. I don't care if your child runs away and it's too late. Like, oh crap, I missed my opportunity. Think it out. Visualize it. Get an answer. And then go and talk to the child.
So I'll follow up to that. When you stepped away, Jeremy brought up a good statement and an example. Like the why, for those who are wires, it's just mainly to just get some feedback from the child. Okay, like why did this happen, or why did you decide to do this? The example he gave is like, his child had, what is it, those little cheeses all over the place?
The red Baby Bell cheeses. I stepped out of here for like literally 2 seconds, and all they were supposed to be doing was finishing up what they were finishing up the dinner stuff. And when I walk out there, 10 Baby Bell cheeses on the floor, and that was the first thing that came out of my mouth is like, why? Like, what was literally going on up here that just said, hey, dad's on a meeting. Let's go ahead and just eat all these. That's cool. Like, did you think you'd get away with it? Or did you think that like that? And that also happens in my relationship too. I ask why when something happens, because I just want to know, like, obviously it wasn't intentionally like malice or anything like that. So that's where I come from. I just try to get down to the root cause of it. But if I can, you said switch it with what do I want to see or what do I want to hear?
Mhm.
So if I were to, let's say that situation when I just walked out there, well, obviously I don't want to see 10 baby bell cheeses on the floor because those things are damn expensive. And nor should they need 10 baby bell cheeses. So where do I go from there?
So one is 2020 hindsight vision in terms of that specific example.
Right.
But moving it forward, it's like you can go to the gym and you could work out and you might skip something. That doesn't mean all things are lost. You just go back on the next time and continue where you're at. So first, I would encourage you, I guarantee you, this is going to be your first attempt. After everyone hears this, you're going to start speaking a new language. So the first thing you're going to notice, everybody always wants to know, well, what do I do if, or what do I do when? First, you have to know where you are in space and time. And if you can't recognize, the most important thing that I want everybody to share with everybody tonight, because the videos are out there with more of a breakdown, I want to leave you with the actual way it works. The way it works is when kids start learning a language, they say the words wrong. And we say, okay, this is how you say the word the right way. So you have to be patient with yourself. You're going to walk into situations and you're going to keep lying. Okay? Probably for the next month to 2 months. You're going to catch yourself now that this has been brought to your attention. It's kind of like when you buy a car. Before you bought that car, you never see that car on the road. And then all of a sudden you buy that car and everybody has your car in that color. You're going to start, every one of you are going to buy, except for the one with the baby. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I'm messing up. I'm saying why. I'm saying don't. Jason said, get rid of all that. Let's take the pressure off all of us right now. First, practice the first week of just recognizing, even confirming. You might think you're a wire, but then when your children are there, you might actually be a don'ter. So my first assignment to you would be next week, figure out which one is really your primary and which one really is your secondary. Either way, the solutions don't change. So if I walked in, I saw 10 baby bell cheeses, it's there are two forms of help. There's an intervention and there's prevention. The best way to work is from prevention. So you want to learn stop, drop, and roll before you're on fire. It's not the right time to learn stop, drop, and roll when you're in flames. So right now, I can't give you a prevention answer. How do I prevent that? I can only give you an intervention. An intervention is when the fire is blazing and you say, Jay, what do I do? Well, you get out the fire extinguisher and you put out the fire. Two totally different strategies, and you have to know that both exist. So the putting out the fire strategy, right now you're not going to think is adequate. You're going to be like, yeah, but they already ate cheeses, and that's not a strong enough way of handling to make sure that they know that they can't do that next time when I'm in a meeting, blah, 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 because I'm about to give you an intervention using the material that I gave you. There's a fire. The 10 baby cheeses are out. What do I want to see? I want to see so-and-so get up and pick up half of them, and the other one pick up the other half and put it back here, put it back in the fridge. I want to hear, Dad, if I would like some cheese, can I have some cheese, please? And then you would say, well, no, you didn't ask. Next time, this is more of a prevention. Next time when I'm in the meeting, come and get me, or wait till I come out and then ask me for some cheese, and then I'll say yes. But right now you can't have cheese because you did it without asking. Tomorrow, the next time you want something, then you can. So intervention is cleaning up the mess. Doesn't sound powerful enough. Doesn't sound like it's doing anything for the children. And you're right, because it's an intervention. It's putting out the fire. But the prevention is setting up the stage for the next time when you're busy. Doesn't matter if it's a meeting. You could be in the bathroom. You could be reading a book. You could be on your phone. And you're teaching them what to do differently next time. Hey, next time you want something, make sure you ask Dad. Say, Dad, can I have X, please? Now, in the beginning, you want to make sure that works. even if it's an inconvenience, you have to say yes, 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 because children do what works. If it doesn't work, they don't do it. It's kind of like a mind screw because we'll watch our child potentially throw themselves on the floor, scrape their knee in front of everybody in the store, and get scratch their knee, it's bleeding for a Snickers bar. We're like, Jay, I need to take him to therapy. I'm like, no, you don't need to take him to therapy. Children under a certain age, definitely under 6, 10, questionable, but you need these tools where you got to understand. They want what their formula is this. Children's formula. I want what I want and I want it now. I want what I want and I want it now. Period. End of story. Don't analyze it. Don't try to man search for meaning. We don't need to find something deeper. They do it because it works. So if I can take something without asking and it still works, they're going to use that method until they're shown another method to practice to replace their old behavior. And once they practice that new behavior enough and show that that new strategy works better than their strategy, they'll adopt your strategy, but not a moment beforehand.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I'm going to be practicing some things. I'm working on my first assignment.
What kind of what is it? An alarm state. Which kind am I? 1, 2, 3, or 4? The donor, a stopper, enough already, cut it out. They're like cousins, and a wire.
So we had a great opportunity that just happened. What was this? This is a couple weeks ago that we were able to go to the Florida Kids and Family Expo, which was held at the Orlando Convention Center, which is huge, by the way. I had never been there before, but we were able to actually have a booth inside the expo, and it was such a great opportunity to be able to meet so many people, not only other dads and parents at the expo, but also all the other vendors that were there and being able to talk to them. And we're just really, I don't know about you, I'm excited to do some partnering with some of these vendors as well.
Yeah, shout out to Brandy too, who took care of us and got us to even better space, being across from all the kid touch-a-truck area. I think it was just perfect for us.
Well, and originally, Floor, I think you said we weren't even inside; we were outside the door, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were right at the entrance. So as the families were coming into the expo, they would have passed our table. So we had a real quick opportunity to speak to them. So it was almost like we just had to catch them just before they went inside, which I imagine would be difficult. But to be inside actually allowed us to spend some time with everybody we spoke with. I mean, and I think it was, I mean, being in the mix of talking with all these dads and families and the wives and everything like that too, who learned about us was pretty amazing. And so rewarding, like sharing about what we do. But at the same time, it was kind of awesome seeing the perspective from outside looking in. Like when I saw you two talking to the families and dads, like just looking at that interaction and the people that were coming to our table was, I mean, was like a moment for me where I was like, wow, like this is us. This is amazing, to see how many people we can potentially reach and have how many people, I mean, learn about us. I mean, geez, it was amazing, especially that we ran out of flyers. I mean, we didn't have enough to begin with, but we literally passed out every single flyer and almost interacted with every single person that we handed a flyer to, which was also impactful.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that sticks out to me the most was how many wives were throwing their husbands at being like, look, it's a dad's group. Finally, it's something for you.
Yeah, and also when they hear about the dad's night, they're like, oh, look, you can get out the house,
Good, I can finally get him out of the house. No, it was very interesting because we met a lot of different parents. We met a lot of different dads, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm hoping we can do it next year and
Hmm.
look forward to it. I think they do it. They said what next year's the 10th
The 10th
Expo?
anniversary, they've
Yeah.
yep, the 10th Expo. So that it I mean, if anything is the 10th anniversary, I imagine it's gonna be, go big or go home. So I'm hoping that one is a lot bigger. Although this one was, I mean, I don't think we were expecting that kind of crowd to be there.
We
And
were not ready for the amount of people that were there and the amount of interest that we had.
not at all.
300 flyers gone. That's insane.
And we held back some. Like we had to hold it back for the next day because
Huh?
it was a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not including the QR code scanners too. So there's even more people.
True. Yeah. Great point.
We easily need to have like 600 to 700 flyers next time.
Yeah.
And through
Well,
that,
we
I
have a
mean,
year to plan it, right?
yeah. I mean, we've learned a lot for sure, and know what ways we could try to enhance our little section, to be more impactful and to have more information and just to be more informational, I guess, like with images of past groups and stuff, of past meetups, which I think would be helpful for them to actually see us in action. Whether it's a video or just an image, I think would be helpful. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I think I was really happy and proud of the accomplishment. Like what we went there to accomplish, we succeeded. And we gained, I want to say we had maybe right after that about 20 something members or new members after that. And I think maybe more than half of that could have been from the expo, which was pretty impressive, and exciting to see. And the buzz around it too, us having our meetups and everything like that was pretty cool. Like one of our meetups we have at the end of September, um, we have to make a reservation for that ASAP because that's blowing up already.
You're busy in a good way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think September is going to be a good month. And one of the other things I wanted to mention too is that I feel I completely agree with you about the videos, being able to showcase people kind of what we do with the kids, with the dads. The video you created, I think it was you, Floor, that created the video on Instagram of the arcade monsters that we just had a couple nights ago.
Yes.
That I think that's a perfect example of that to just show people, because it really captured the night of
Yeah.
all the dads there and what we were doing, and I think it was great. I think that's the kind of tone we want to set with the expo for those type of videos, because I think people seeing it, it's going to be more impactful for them. So again, I'm looking forward to it. So
Yeah,
hopefully
I
we can do it next year.
I'm sorry. I think some dads are a little timid sometimes because they don't know what to expect. Obviously, there's nothing like us around. So therefore, they're going off of whatever wife says or whatever they assume without actually knowing. So, yeah, the videos are going to be really impactful.
Yeah, it almost gives them permission, like it's okay to step out the house for a little bit. And not that we're trying to promote that, this is your escape from the house, although, we've joked around about it before, but it's not really about that. It's us as parents, not just dads, but as parents, it's demanding, you got to be there for your kids, especially if they're little, it's like 24-hour surveillance almost. You have to make sure that they're okay, they're fed, they're well taken care of, they have school, and you have work. And if you work from home, or if you have to go to a physical place, or you're a stay-at-home dad, you have the house duties, there's things that you have to take care of, and it's like around the clock work. So if you do have that partnership and opportunity where you can have somebody just take care of the kids for a couple of hours, it allows you to come out and to just let your shoulders down, relax, where you can just hang out and either do nothing where you can talk, you can play games if we're at a video game bar, have a couple drinks, if there's any concerns or things you want to share, whatever it is that just helps you to take time for yourself and kind of like recharge so that you're able to go back to your family and to your kids and to give them 100% of yourself, because you were just able to give yourself 100% of your own time away from the kids, so you kind of need that. I mean, it's good for your mental health. It's good for your well-being, maybe even physically, just to give yourself a time to just sit down for a second and just hang out with the fellas for a little bit. And then go back, you go back to parenting. It's just on a pause. You're not stopping it. And vice versa for the moms as well. Moms need that time as well. So that's where us dads come in and we do our thing as fathers and take care of the kids, because we're capable, and we're also parents. We're not babysitting, because that's not what that is. We're parents. Sometimes they're like, oh, you're babysitting today.
No.
No, we don't babysit. I am the father. I'm also the parent, and I take care of my kids just like mom would. So I think we need to change that stigma in society of like, we don't babysit. This is our
Absolutely.
job also. So the dad's night out is pretty special because it brings a lot of dads out who need that time, and it kind of recharges their battery so they can go back to doing what they need to do as a father.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well said, definitely. Well, I want to jump into another segment here. It's a segment I'm hoping we can continue, and I have one locked and loaded, and if you guys have one to share off the cuff, you're welcome to as well. So I love I have two young kids. I have a 6-year-old, I have a 3-year-old. They say the funniest things unintentionally, and I love telling people about it. So I want to start at least a segment doing anything, funny stories about our kids and what they've done. Obviously we don't need to completely embarrass them, but something like this I don't think would shatter my son. So just to give you a little background, so it comes from my mom. My mom is notorious for doing this, where she will mix up words. So as a kid, my sister and I would listen to the radio, and there'd be an artist, and we would try to figure out the artist and the song, and we made a game out of it. And so my mom, listening, would just kind of learn some of these artists. And so one of the artists in the 90s was Uncle Kracker. He had a song in the 90s. And so my mom would mix the words, and she'd be like, "Oh, I know the song. It's by Papa Saltines." And it would just be completely wrong, but so close to being wrong. And I do that, and my son also does that. So the story is, I took my son one afternoon in Florida, or at least in Orange County. The kids get out an hour early because it gives the time for the teachers to prep. And I didn't need to go pick up my daughter yet, but I brought my son to go to Epcot because we wanted to ride Guardians of the Galaxy. And we're walking to, we get in Epcot, we're walking into up to Guardians of the Galaxy. And I said, "What song do you think we're going to get?" And if, anyone's ridden Guardians of the Galaxy, there's 6 different songs. It's all at random. You have no idea what song you're going to get. And he's like, "Oh, I want the turkey song." And I'm like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And I'm thinking, we're walking, and I was like, "I don't know what song you're talking about." He goes, "It's the turkey song. Like, you like it. It's one of my favorite songs, the turkey song." I was like, "What turkey song?" I think about it, and a light bulb goes off. I was like, "Buddy, do you mean the Flock of Seagulls song?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I mean. That." It's those type of moments that just make me chuckle as a parent, because he's done it a couple times, but that was the most recent one.
Oh man. Yeah, kids say the craziest things, that's for sure. The craziest. And it's even worse when they say things in public around people and you have
Oh,
to like,
gosh.
oh
With
my
no
God, like
context.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh my
With no.
God, you can't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you try to cough in the middle of like as they're saying something and you realize it's too late, you can't get to them, so you just try to
Right.
like talk over them. I
Right.
say, wait, well, why don't you go over there and play with your friends?
No. Don't you need some candy right now? Go quick.
Yeah,
Go pick something
kids,
out.
yeah, no filter at all.
Love them though.
Oh man. All right, cool. So here are some things that we got coming up for September. Of course, if you follow us on social media, you'll see the calendars and everything going out. And of course, on Meetup, it's probably the ideal location for you to be, so you can just get notifications of all the stuff that we post. In September, we got quite a few events, and there's already some RSVPs going out there, which is really cool. And one thing I also want to just shout out to is things that we'll have kind of ongoing here and there, maybe every other month or so. Dad Swag, aka Nate, the co-host, will be he's a car guy, so he's always at different car shows and car meetups all around the city of Orlando. So if you are a car dad, chances are you will see the Dad Swag van out there. Purple Sienna on bags. So you'll see him out there. He'll probably have a table and you can stop by, talk to him. There is one in early September in case you've missed it, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming up. And then we also have some other events coming up for September, starting with our virtual meetup. That's September 18th. And that's one that, like we've mentioned in the past, where we kind of just hang out virtually. If you're unable to make it out to a physical event, that's an opportunity for you to come out, hang out. We talk about whatever. There's no script. If there is any questions you have that you'd like to remain anonymous, you could definitely put them there on Meetup, where just the co-organizers will see and will ask the question on your behalf to keep it anonymous. But other than that, you're more than welcome to speak your mind and share whatever it is that's bothering you, or something funny you have, or any other thing your kids may have said that embarrassed you. By all means.
I've got a whole list of them. I could do an entire webinar on stories of that.
Yeah, right. And then of course our playground meetups, which is really nice for the little ones to come out. We've had as little as 2-3 month old babies come out. Of course they can't play on the playground, but dad is holding them. Up to, I mean, what, 14, 15 years old maybe, come out and just have fun. That is Saturday, September 21st, and that is going to be held at R.D. Keene Park in Windermere. So if you're on that side of town or don't mind the drive, see Nick, because he'll be there.
I will. I'm hosting it.
Yep. And then, geez, what's our last one? The last one is Dad's Night Out.
The most important one of all. I mean, come on,
Yes.
you're burying the lead here.
Oh yeah, Dad's Night Out, September 24th. It's on a Tuesday, because Tuesday is like half price night or something like that. And this is at Top Golf. Top Golf, the last time we held this, we filled up a bay pretty quickly. So we're probably going to have two. The way it's looking, maybe 3 bays for us dads to just get the iron out and just go crazy on these golf balls, whether you're an expert or not. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I try my best, and it's just a good time all the way around. And yeah, what else am I missing?
Nothing. I think those are our events for September, and obviously we'll be posting more for October as they come in, as the month goes through, and I'm excited about September. I think it's not that I wasn't excited about other months, but I think because we're coming off of the expo, I'm really looking forward to some of these meetups. So be a lot of fun. So hopefully,
Yeah, for sure.
you guys can come and join us, and we appreciate you listening to this podcast, and hopefully you can check out the next one.
Yep, sounds good. Catch you guys later.
Have a good day.
You too. Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you for listening to the Orlando Dads Group podcast. Tune in for our next episode as we have Margarita Donies and we discuss moving past trauma. Check out our upcoming events for the month of September. We hope to see you at a meeting. Find us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram as Orlando Dads Group, and on X as @OrlandoDads.